Morning everyone, welcome to today's practice. We're going to be doing an hour of power yoga, and as always with these, if you have any injuries, if anything is a little bit painful, please just back off and don't push yourself too hard. There's a playlist on the side of the screen if you'd like it, and there's also a link to my donation page, as all of my classes online are donation based. We are going to get started lying on our backs today. So soles of the feet together to touch, knees open wide. And let's bring one hand onto the heart and one hand onto the stomach. And take a couple of breaths, a couple of movements here to settle in. So if you need to shift anything, trying to make yourself as comfortable as possible. And then start deepening your breath. So breathing in and out through the nose. And maybe feeling some expansion beneath both of your hands as you inhale. Allowing these few moments of stillness, of calm, to just set your body up. Set your mind up, clear anything out that you don't need right now. And allowing your whole awareness to be on your breath. If your eyes are closed, open them back up and then use your hands to guide your knees back together and hug them in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe rock from side to side, just massaging the lower back. And keep that full, long, full body breath going here. And grab the underneath of your thighs and take a couple of rock and rolls backwards and forwards on your mat. And we're going to meet up in a boat pose. So, sitting right on your seat bones, shins are parallel to the floor, open the arms out. If you prefer to hold on to the thighs, please do. And just find that breath once more. Options to stay exactly where you are or come into a low boat. Hold it here. If you're in a low boat and want to take it further, reach your arms up overhead. High boat. Stay with it. Try not to let the feet or the hands touch the floor. We're going to do that once more. Low boat. Options to stay here or reach your arms back behind you overhead. Ujjayi breath. Lift back up, high boat. Stay with it. 3 more breaths. Focusing on the breath rather than what's going on physically here. Last big breath in. And exhale, release. Just coming to a cross-legged position. If cross-legged is not comfortable, then you can come to kneeling. Maybe you're already feeling some sensations in the core muscles. And we're just going to warm up the head and neck a little bit here. So let the head just hang heavy. And then moving nice and slowly, we're going to roll the head whichever direction you want to go first. You want to keep the shoulders nice and still here. Just feeling your way into your physical body, noticing what your energy levels are like in different areas of your body. Take one more rotation in this direction. Keep the movement really slow, really mindful. And then we're going to change direction, so going the other way. Notice where your breath is going. Is it just in your chest, or can you still find that full body breath? Completing the rotation that you're on. There's absolutely no rush. And when you've completed it, slowly, slowly lifting your head all the way up to center, and then maybe gaze up towards the ceiling and maybe a little bit back behind you. Slowly, slowly lift your head back up. And then just shake the hands out. So we're going to start warming up the wrists now. So maybe visualize this by something you don't want to think about today, some thought that's in your mind that you just want to let go of, and you're just throwing it away, shaking it all off. From here, we're going to move into all fours, tabletop position. So hands come underneath shoulders, knees are hip width apart. And we'll stay focusing on the wrists a little bit here. So I want you to spread your fingers wide on the mat. Press down with each fingertip and each knuckle pad. And then start taking rotations around the wrists. So these can be as big as you like. Really noticing as you move through the wrists, what parts of your hands are you pressing down? Change directions. Keep the fingertips spread as wide as you can here. And try not to press down completely with the heel of the hand. So you're pressing down with the whole of each of the hands. So you're not putting all the weight just in the heel of the wrist. Come to stillness and walk your left fingertips out towards the left and right towards the right. And then we're just going to sway from side to side. Again, notice which parts of your hand are pressing down, and make sure you're pressing down with your thumb. Often we can forget about our thumb in yoga. And then walk your fingertips so they face back towards you. So all the way back towards you. This might feel quite intense, so feel free to just stay in stillness, or take a gentle rock backwards and forwards. You might notice that your movement's a little bit more limited here, but just going as far as you can. And finding that point, if you are moving quite deeply into this one, just as the heel of your wrist starts to lift off the mat, that is your limit today. Two more rocks like this. And when you've taken those two, sit back on your heels and just shake the wrists out again. So coming back to that same sensation, do your wrists feel any different now that we've spent some time, warming them up a little bit? Any rotations, any movements? And then place your hands back on the mat. Tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. It might feel good here to pedal out the feet by bending one knee at a time. Maybe you want to tilt the tailbone from side to side. Just feeling your way into your body. On an inhale, roll yourself forwards to a high plank. Press the earth away, finding that space in between the shoulder blades. Options to just stay exactly where you are, or take a push-up by bending the elbows close to the body and pushing back up. Everyone come back to a downward facing dog. We're going to do that again. Roll forwards to high plank. You choose if you stay exactly where you are, just holding your high plank, or bend the elbows close to the body, low plank. Push the earth away, high plank. Everyone meets in downward facing dog. Lift yourself right up onto your tippy toes and take tiny footsteps all the way to behind your wrists. You can bend your knees here as much as you need to. And then take a ragdoll at the top of your mat, opposite hand to opposite elbow. Let your head just hang heavy. You might want to stay in stillness here, or you might want to take a little bit of movement, allowing the upper body to fold a little bit deeper. Feel free to keep quite a bend in the knees. Release your hands down. Moving slowly, press the feet down into the mat and roll your spine all the way up to standing. Having your head as the last thing to lift. Reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. And exhale, bring your hands together at heart center, big toes to touch, and close down the eyes. Taking a moment to set an intention for your practice ahead, maybe for your day ahead. And this can be something as simple as finding a bit of lightness in your practice today, not taking things too seriously. Or it might be something a little bit more personal. With that thought in your mind, open up the eyes. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale to fold forwards. Inhale to a halfway lift, flat back. Reach the crown of the head, the rib cage forwards. Pull the tummy button in and up towards the spine. Fold. And again, halfway lift. Inhale to reach the crown of the head forwards. Step back to a high plank. Options to drop your knees, come down to your chest, your chin, or if you're ready, let's go for a full chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, you can take a cobra or an upward facing dog, chest is open. Exhale, downward facing dog. So I'm going to give you some variations as we go through the practice, but feel free to just go wherever you need to go. If you need to drop your knees at any point, please do. If you need to come to a child's pose at any point, please do. Big breath in through the nose. Exhale it all out. Walk, step, or float to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, rise up. Reach your arms overhead. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Notice if you're on autopilot. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, high to low plank. Don't rush, but as you inhale, it's up dog or cobra, press the earth away. Exhale, downward facing dog. Really trying to match your movement with your breath as we go through these vinyasas, warming up our body and calming our mind down. Big breath in. Exhale it all out, soften knees, gaze forward, slightly jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, rise up, reach tall. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step or float back to your low plank. Inhale, it's up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. And always taking a moment in your down dog to just reset your breath. So notice what's going on. Check in with the hands and the feet. Can you lift your 10 toes here? See if you can lift up all 10 toes. Spread them a little bit more wide and then place them back on the mat. Soften knees, gaze forward, walk, step or jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Bring your big toes together to touch. Inhale to a chair pose, bend your knees, reach tall. Sitting low in your chair. Make sure your weight is right in the heels of the feet, so maybe even lifting the 10 toes here, see how that feels. Keep breathing. Keep the shoulders relaxed, but the fingertips reaching up. One more breath in. Exhale, fold forwards. Halfway lift. Low plank, step or float back. As you inhale, it's upward facing or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, warrior one. Press both feet down, inhale, rise tall. Exhale, high to low plank. Moving with your own breath. Inhale, it comes to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forwards, warrior one. Both feet press down, inhale, reach tall. Exhale, low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Take 4 deep breaths in your down dog. One more big breath in. And as you exhale, feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose, bend your knees, reach up. Sit a little bit lower this time. Fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, warrior one. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Windmill the arms down to the mat, high to low plank. Upward facing. Downward facing. Left foot steps forwards, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Let's take a big sigh here in our down dog. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth. Do that again. Soften knees, gaze forwards, feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose, bend your knees, reach tall. Staying with your chair pose. See if you can come onto your tippy toes of your right foot. And then see if you can hover your right foot off the floor. Keep the knees connected or apart. It's totally up to you. Breathe here. Start to bend the left knee and tap the left heel with the right knee. Lift back up. We're going to do that once more. Bend the left knee, tap the left heel with the right knee. Lift back up, both feet down, chair pose. Take a breath. We're going to go on the other side. So coming onto the tippy toes of that left foot, then lift the left foot off the floor. Find your Ujjayi breath. Focus your gaze. Bend the right knee, tap the right heel. Lift up. One more like this. Bend the right knee. Tap the right heel, lift up. Both feet down, chair pose, big breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Right side, warrior one. Inhale, rise tall. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale, low plank. Moving with your own breath. Up dog or cobra, open up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forwards, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, low plank. Upward facing or cobra. Downward facing dog. We're going to stay in our down dog for 5 breaths. I'm going to give you 3 options. Child's pose, drop the knees to come all the way down. Take your breaths here. Stay in your down dog. Or final option is to drop onto both forearms, step the toes in a little bit, coming into your dolphin. If you're in your dolphin and feeling really energetic this morning, bring your gaze towards your thumbs. And as you take your breath, see if you can shift forward so your nose just taps your thumbs. Take 3 of those. So we've got a few options as to where you are. Child's pose, down dog, dolphin, or you're taking a few little nose taps. And everyone meeting back in down dog when you are ready. Bring your feet together to touch behind you. And lift your right leg up. Imagine you're kicking into a wall behind you, so that right leg is really strong here. Bring your knee to your nose. Hold it here for 3. Keep pressing the hands down for 2. For 1, kick it back. Bring your knee to your right elbow. We're going to hold it here. If any of you want to go for your arm balance, go ahead. Hold it here for 3, for 2, for 1, kick it back. Bring your knee to your left elbow, but we're not going to hold it. We're going to straighten that right leg out towards the left. Lift the left arm up. Try and keep the right leg off the floor for your fallen triangle. For 3, for 2, for 1, both hands down, kick back. 3-legged down dog. Bring your knee to your nose. Crescent lunge, step through, rise up. And get into the pose. If you can lengthen your stance a little bit, do so. Start to lean your way forwards. And as you do so, let that back leg lift, warrior 3. Find your balance. Again, that imaginary wall behind you with that left foot. Try to have both hips square to the floor, so maybe roll the left hip down a little bit. Start to bend through the right knee and let the left toe step back into your crescent lunge. We're going to do that once more. So leaning forwards, lift up, warrior 3. You might be a bit wobbly, a little bit shaky. Start to bend the right knee, step back, crescent lunge. Inhale, reach up. Hands together at heart center. Twist towards your right. Press the elbow and thigh together to really open through the chest. Options, stay with hands pressing into each other, or maybe open through the arms, spread the wings. Third option here, to stay where you are, or maybe reach around and go for a bind. It's a little bit of a tricky bind, so see what happens. Keep breathing here. Keep spiraling the chest open. If you're bound, gently let go. Everyone meet back in center, crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, reach forwards and down to your triangle. So you can choose here if that right hand comes to the inside of the shin, on top of the shin, outside of the shin, maybe even all the way down to the floor. But think about here lengthening your spine. So rather than rounding forwards, coming deeper into the pose, I'm lifting and lengthening. Gaze can be down or up towards the left fingers. Keep the back foot strong in the mat. On your legs, inhale, rise back up. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale to reverse. Windmill the arms to the mat. Either take a vinyasa or skip it out and step straight to your downward facing dog, your choice. Let's go on the left side, big toes together to touch. Lift your left leg up. Again, think about reaching that foot back as far as you can without opening the hips. So the hips are square to the floor and the left heel is reaching backwards. Bring your knee to your nose. Hold it here. For 3, don't let the hips sink. For 2, for 1, kick back. Bring your knee to your left elbow. Again, if you want to go for that arm balance, go ahead. For 3, for 2, for 1, kick it back. Knee to right elbow. Again, straighten the left leg out towards the right. Reach the right arms up. If you can, keep the left foot off the floor. Fallen triangle for 3, for 2, for 1. Both hands down, 3-legged down dog. Knee to nose. Crescent lunge. Root both feet down, rise up 2. Notice if you can lift your back heel a little bit higher, coming more onto the ball of that back foot. Start to lean your way forwards. Let that back leg lift without jumping into it, warrior 3. Think about rolling the right hip down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Start to bend the left knee. Place the right toes back. Reach the arms up. We're going to do that once more. Start to lean forwards. Lift the back toes up, warrior 3. Let the back toes drop back down gently as you can. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Twist towards your left. Keep squeezing that right glute. You can choose, hands stay together. Maybe you open up the arms, maybe you go for that bind, your choice. And maybe go for the bind and it makes you fall out of the pose. And don't take it too seriously if that happens. If you're bound, release. Make your way back to a crescent lunge. Warrior two. Straighten your front leg, reach forwards, triangle. Again, notice where your hand is, but if you are placing the whole of the hand on the shin, try not to dump into that shin. If this hamstring feels really tight, keep a little bend in that knee. And then bring your awareness to the outer edge of your back foot. Press down with that edge of the foot. So much so that you can feel the inner ankle lift. Rise back up. Warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Windmill the arms to the mat. Take a vinyasa or step it straight into your downward facing dog. If you need to sigh, go ahead. Roll yourself forwards to a high plank. Feet together to touch. Side plank, right hand down, left arm up. Find your balance. And we're trying to have both feet stacked on top of each other. So you're on the outer edge of the right foot. Press the other way with the right hand. Staying for another three. Any leg variation here for two. For one, come back to a high plank. Spin over, side plank the other way. So left hand down, right arm up. Just trying to stack both feet on top of each other. You can choose what you do with your gaze. Maybe go for that extra challenge by bringing the gaze up towards the right hand. Stay with it for another three. For two. For one, both hands to the mat. Listen carefully. Drop down onto the right forearm. Spin open, forearm side plank. Right hand arm down, left arm up. Feet are still stacked. For three. For two. For one, we're going to spin onto the left forearm. So spinning on the feet, coming to the outer edge of that left foot, right arm lifts. For three. For two. For one, both forearms on the floor. You're in your dolphin plank, your forearm plank. Think about pressing the space in between the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Just staying here for another five. Ujjayi breath. 4. For 3. 2. 1. Drop your knees, come onto your hands and knees. Take a breath here. If you need to take a moment in child's pose, please do. Otherwise, take a couple of rounds of cat and cow. Just loosen up the shoulders, the spine. So exhaling to round, inhaling to arch. And if you need to sigh or take any other movement here, we're working our upper body quite hard today. So just taking a couple of moments to give it a little break, give it a little stretch. And bring yourself to stillness. And we're going to take a puppy dog pose. So walking your hands forwards, forehead comes down onto the mat, hips stay on top of the knees. You can choose if you stay here or bring your chin down if you want that extra stretch. But try not to sink and stick your bum out here. You keep the tailbone tucked under, the core muscles are engaged. And lift yourself back up. Downward facing dog. So for knees, gaze forwards, lightly jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold forwards. Really folding forwards. Open the feet out to mat width apart and have your toes slightly pointing outwards. Let your hips sink into a Malasana squat. So hips nice and low, toes pointing out. And you can choose here, if you keep your hands down, or lift the arms up. So really strong in the feet. So for some of you, this is going to be quite easy and you can just sort of sink into it. For others of you, it's going to be really challenging. But if you feel you're sinking and you can really almost get your seat bones to the floor, keep it active. So maybe lift the seat bones a little bit. So almost like you're lifting through the fingertips. Keep guiding the knees outwards. Keep the arms lifted, come up to standing. We're going to slowly lower back down. Coming back to your limit, so not sinking into the pose. We're going to do that once more. So lifting up to standing. Lowering back down. This time elbows come to the insides of the knees, hands together at heart center. Breathe. Options, stay where you are, or it's a crow pose. If you're going for a crow pose, hands come onto the mat, fingertips spread wide, press down. Make a little shelf with your arms by bending through the elbows, and then start to lean forwards. You might just lift up one leg at a time, and that's a great place to be. You might lift up both feet, guiding the toes towards your seat bones. We're going to stay here for a few more breaths. Make sure you are breathing even if you are lifted. If you are in your crow pose, see if you can stay for another 3. For 2. For 1, go ahead and shoot back. If it's in your practice, low plank. Take a vinyasa or meet us straight in a downward facing dog. Soften knees, gaze forwards, walk, step, or float to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose, bend your knees, reach up. And make sure you've got some space behind you, so take a little check. There's no animals, children, plants, tables. And then start to lower your hips down, and we're going to use momentum, so come to a rock and roll on your back. Don't touch the floor, but come up to your chair pose. Let's try that once more, lower down. Take a rock and roll. Place your feet back on the floor. Try not to touch with your hands, chair pose. Don't worry if it doesn't work. Hands together at heart center. Inhale, find length. Exhale, twist towards your right. So it's that same movement we were just doing in our twisted lunge. Sink the hips a little bit lower. Inhale to a chair pose. Exhale, hands together at heart center, twisting towards your left. Can you sink your hips a little bit lower? Make sure your knees are still in line. Often one tends to shoot forwards here. Inhale, chair pose. Stay with me. We're going to take one more movement, then we won't be coming back to chair again today. We're going to do the same thing, but going slowly. Bring your seat bones onto the floor. Boat pose. We've been here already today. Notice how your body's feeling now compared to at the start of class. Hopefully a little bit warmer. If like me, maybe a little bit sweaty. Options, stay where you are or take a low boat. Reaching the arms back up overhead. High boat. Without touching the floor, place both feet down. See if you can come back into your chair pose. Nice work. Big breath in. Exhale, fold forwards. Separate your feet and slide the whole of the palm of the hand under the foot. So the toes are right up on your wrist creases. Bend your knees as much as you need to find length through the spine. And then fold deeply over your legs. Let the crown of your head hang heavy towards the floor. And if this is a lot in the hamstrings, you can keep a bend in the knees throughout. Keeping the hands and feet connected, can you walk to the back of your mat? It might feel a little bit silly, like something that isn't really yoga, but give it a go. And if you make it to the back of your mat, see if you can walk back to the front. Trying to find a bit of lightness in the practice if there are poses you're not struggling with or you feel wobbly today. Just letting all of that go and having a bit of silliness, trying to walk to the back of your mat with your hands underneath your feet. Release your hands. On an inhale, roll yourself up to standing. Take a shape, take any movement here you might need. And let's come to eagle pose. Right leg over left, right arm comes under left. Squeeze the thighs together. And see if you can have your elbows up in line with the shoulders, so they're not sinking down, you're not rounding forwards, you're lifting, as if someone's lifting through the fingertips. Ujjayi breath. Release the pose. Eagle on the left leg over, left arm comes under. Settle your gaze to one spot, especially if you're feeling a little bit wobbly. Don't let your eyes move from that spot. Unravel the pose, eagle on the right leg over, right arm comes under. And you can choose here if you stay in stillness, so stay exactly where you are, or if you start to lift a little bit more. So maybe bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. It's quite a hard one to do and speak at the same time, but you're almost coming into a small back bend here. So really think about lifting through the chest rather than sinking into the lower back. And release. Let's come to eagle on the left leg over, left arm under. And settle in. You choose. If you feel good in your eagle, just stay where you are. If you want to go for that small back bend, that small heart opener, start to lift the arms up and back. Maybe the gaze lifts up, maybe you wobble, maybe you fall. And release, let it go. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. Let's take a dancer's pose. So we've used our legs quite a lot today. Right arm alongside you, eye of the elbows pointing out, left fingertips up. Grab the inside of your right foot, knees touching, lift up and then start to reach forwards as you kick backwards. So it's like a counter balance as you're reaching forwards and kicking back into my hand. And release, windmill the arms just once. So the right arm lifts, the left arm drops. Dancers on the left. Again, set yourself up. Then start to reach forwards as you kick backwards. Release, let's go once more on each side. So windmilling the arms back. Set up, and then reach forwards, kick back. Focus your gaze. Something in front of you. So if you're looking down towards the floor, see if you can lift your gaze here. And release, lift up, last side, left leg. Reach up and then lean forwards. Release the pose, shake anything out that you need to, the ankles, the arms, the shoulders. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold forwards. Lift halfway. Step back, either straight into your down dog or through a vinyasa. You choose how you're feeling at this point in practice. Step your right foot forwards, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Interlace your fingers behind you. Open the chest, almost a little lean backwards here, and then fold forwards to your humble warrior. So reaching the crown of the head down towards the floor. Maybe the right shoulder is sort of pressing against the right knee, guiding that right knee outwards. But even though we're really leaning most of our weight forwards here, keep pressing back in that with that back foot. Release your hands and place your hands on the inside of your right foot. So keeping the feet exactly where they are. It's tempting to lift onto the ball of that right foot, but keep it grounded down in warrior one legs. And you can choose, if you've got a lot going on here, stay here. Otherwise, tuck your right elbow underneath your right knee. Choose if you stay here, or take it further by grabbing hold of your right ankle. Last variation, either stay here or open out the arms. Keep breathing, keep pressing that back foot down for another 3, for 2, for 1. Without rush, moving gently, unravel the pose, step it straight back into your down dog. You might need to shake that right leg out a little bit. That hip might be saying, what the hell's going on this morning? Right foot forwards, warrior 1. Press both feet down, rise up 2. Interlace your fingers behind you. And before we take it any further, press both feet down. So almost pressing feet down and away from each other, like you're trying to rip your yoga mat in 2 pieces. So we know that our foundations are really strong. Inhale to open the chest. Exhale, humble warrior, coming down. With the intention that the crown of the head might just touch the floor. It might feel like a silly idea today, but you never know, one day it might just happen. Notice where that full body breath is here. It might be a little bit more restrictive to breathe deep into your stomach. Release the hands, gently place them on the floor to the inside of the left foot, keeping the feet exactly where they are, so not pivoting on that back foot. You can choose if you stay here. Second option, tuck your left shoulder underneath your left knee, keep both hands on the floor. Next option, both hands to left wrist. Final option, open out the arms. If you have something in your way, maybe use it to help you here. Staying for another 3. For 2. For 1, gently unravel, there's no rush. Step it back, downward facing dog. And let's take a big sigh. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth. Either walk, step, or float to your hands and roll yourself nice and slowly so both feet come onto the floor. Slowly, slowly, slowly roll yourself onto your back. Both feet flat to the floor, hip width apart. Press the feet down, lift the hips up. And now if you know in bridge pose, if it works best to interlace your fingers underneath you, please go for that. Otherwise today, see how it feels to reach the arms up overhead and onto the floor behind you. Keep the shoulder blades pressing down, the feet pressing down. And make sure you're squeezing your glutes, so the legs are really fired up here. Ujjayi breath. How loud can you breathe in this pose? And gently roll the spine back along the mat. Sway your knees from side to side. We're going to take one more back bend today. You can choose bridge or wheel. Lift up. You can choose any leg or any arm variation that works, or something you're working on, you want to try out today, maybe lifting one leg up at a time. If you're in wheel, you're pressing hands down, reaching the chest forwards. If you're still in your bridge pose, awareness on the feet, you're pressing them down into the mat to lift the hips a little bit higher. If you're trying out something on one side, make sure to take time to do it on both sides. And slowly, slowly roll your spine back along the mat. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Place both feet back on the mat. And let's take a thread the needle, right ankle over left thigh. And pull that left knee in towards your chest. So aiming to feel a nice opening through the right glute, the right hip. Allowing as much of your body to just relax down onto the mat here as possible. Each time you find your mind might be wandering off to other things, other places, just guiding it back to your breath. We're going to release this side, but just let go of the leg, but keep the ankle exactly where it is. And you're going to lift yourself up to seated, and we're going to take a reverse tabletop with our feet like this. So keeping your right ankle over your left thigh. Hands come behind you, fingertips facing forward, and you're just going to press down and lift up. And gently lower the hips back down. Place both feet flat on the floor. Reach the arms out in front of you. And then nice and slowly lower down. Use your core. Notice that point where you want to sink. And just stay with it. And let's go for thread the needle on the other side. So left ankle comes over right thigh. Grab that underneath of that right thigh. Or if it feels good for you, the outer edge of the right shin. Trying to keep both feet flexed here to protect your knees. And really settling in. So you know you're going to hold this pose for a little bit longer. If there's any adjustment, any change in the pose you want to make, feel free to do whatever feels right in your own body. Letting go of the hands and placing that right foot on the floor, lifting yourself up to seated, and we're going to take that reverse tabletop variation again. So keeping the ankle on top of the thigh, hands behind you, fingertips facing forwards, press down and lift the hips up. Keep those left toes flexed if you can, and keep driving down with the right foot to lift the hips higher. It might feel nice to let your head drop back here, but it doesn't really work for me. You might want to try it, see how it feels for you. And gently release. Place both feet on the floor. We're going to take that same movement. So feet flat, arms out in front of you. Nice and slowly start to lower down onto the mat. Keep breathing as you go. And once you come all the way down, let's take a happy baby. Grab the outer edges of your feet. Pull your knees in towards your armpits. It might feel nice to rock gently from side to side here. And release your legs into a chair pose position. So knees are sort of stacked on top of hips. You might, to make it more challenging, your knees can be further away from you than your hips. To make it a little bit easier, you can pull the knees in closer. But all that you need to check is that your tummy isn't doming, so you don't want the tummy to be sticking out. You want to be able to pull the muscles in, and you want your lower back to be flat on the mat. Interlace your fingers behind your head and lift your head and shoulders up off the mat. And we're going to take a few bicycle kicks from here. So as you straighten your right leg, you reach your right elbow towards your left knee. Swap sides. So we're going to take these quite slowly to begin with. So on the other side, and then straightening the right leg, lift the right elbow, swap sides. And you can either stay at my pace or you can speed it up. I'm going to count you in for 10 more. For 10, keep breathing, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Notice if your lower back has started lifting. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Keep head and shoulders lifted. Knees are still bent. And we're going to pulse up towards our knees. Breathing out as we lift up. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your head and shoulders lifted. Stay with it. We're going to do 10 more bicycle kicks. So starting with the right elbow towards the left knee. Go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Take a sigh. Take anything you might need. And then grab the underneath of your thighs, Rock and roll up to seated with both legs out in front of you. Make sure you're right on both seat bones, so moving any fleshy bits out the way that might be in the way. And then inhale to lift up. Exhale, lead with the chest coming to a forward fold. So letting the hands rest on the shins, ankles, soles of the feet. Really think about leading with the chest here. So reaching the chest forwards rather than rounding and sinking down. Inhale back up to seated, and we're going to take an inversion now. If you would like to take a headstand, we're not going to be in it for too long, but go ahead and take a headstand. I'm just going to talk you through a shoulder stand. Press and slowly lift the feet up towards the ceiling. So really pressing down with the upper arm bones here. Quite a tough one to talk while you're upside down. Just allowing a few moments of getting your feet up high. We've worked pretty hard today, so maybe the legs feel a little bit heavy. If you are in a headstand, make your way to a child's pose. Shoulder standers, stay with me. Bring your knees down towards your forehead or your ears. Shoulder standers, maybe use your hands as brakes along the mat, but slowly and with as much control as you can, roll out of the pose. So no crash landings here. Use those core muscles that we've warmed up throughout class to help you with this control. And then everyone meeting on your backs for a spinal twist. So let's have both feet flat to the floor, hip width apart. And open the arms out as much as you can into a sort of T-shaped position. Let both knees fall towards the right. Gaze is towards the left. If you want to deepen the stretch, place your right ankle on top of your left knee. And if there's any movement here that you want to sort of deepen this twist, go ahead. Often twists are quite specific to your body type, so don't be surprised if one thing that works for me doesn't work for you. And coming back through center, and let both knees fall over towards the left. You choose if you take it further by placing the left ankle on top of the right knee. Or if that doesn't work and you know something else does, then feel free to go for that. And slowly coming back to center, hug both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. Maybe bring the forehead up towards the knees and really make yourself as small as you can possibly be. Take a big inhale through the nose and see if you can hold it at the top. Exhale out through the mouth, let go of the legs, let go of the arms. Come to lying flat on your back for your final rest, Shavasana. Taking a moment to really settle in. And then see if you can keep yourself completely still just for these final few moments. Start to deepen your breath. Bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. Roll onto your right side into a fetal position. And with this little movement and effort, make your way up to a seated or kneeling position, hands together at heart center and your eyes closed. Taking a moment to close our practice this morning by bringing to mind someone or something that we're grateful for right now. And with that thought of gratitude, lift your thumb knuckles up to your forehead center. And together we bow forwards and say, Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I hope you enjoyed class. Let me know if you have any questions, any requests. Otherwise, I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.